Hey guys, yeah, so this is just a quick update again on my solar system at my house, and actually test facility, you can call it that. So yeah, as you can see, we've started with the roof repairs and stuff, and now the system has been up here for about 6 months. Sorry for the dog barking, it's not mine. What I do see is actually a bit concerning. I will have to lift up or put the panels on an angle, put A-frames in. But what I do get is that the water, and I always make videos on cloudy days. I don't know why. Maybe it's good. But the water that collects on the panels, we've never cleaned these panels in 6 months. So I don't get a build-up of dirt, but I do get water on the panels. So let me quickly show you. I'm just going to drag my hand here. So at the bottom of the panels, I would get a every morning or whatever. So the water will build up here, and yeah, that's not good over time. I think I'd rather lift the panels a little bit more than it is now, because then this will actually drain a bit better. I don't like the water at the bottom of the panel just standing. It'll just be on this little space here. But yeah, further, very happy with the system. Let me show you what's going on at the bottom. We've upgraded a few things. Alright, so here we are at the installation of the inverter. I'll quickly try and make this look a bit better, because as I said, this is also like my little project. But yeah, I don't mind all the other inverters and stuff that's around here. It's just stuff we're trying to fix and having a look at. And now this is just this is a very hot little space that I've got here, and so I've got a little fan on a timer. This is just to keep air flowing from the bottom to the top of the inverter through the heatsink. That just helps it to stay way below 60 degrees. So that this is very effective. Just a little fan. I will get proper fans that I can maybe install at the back of the inverter. That will be nice. So there you can see it's just plugged into a little time switch, and this is connected to the auxiliary power from the inverter at this stage. So that gives that little time switch power. Well, this is one of the upgrades I did. You can see I installed a Revov battery. I am truly happy with this. The battery's performance is excellent. This is way underpowered for a 5K inverter, but at least I've got one battery for now. I think I will eventually upgrade that to 2 batteries. This is also just to get me through the 2 hours. Actually, I don't charge this battery from the grid at all, but this is just to get me through the load shedding times. Yeah, as you can see, there's now a lot of cabling and wiring going on this. As you saw on the roof, I haven't gotten to the second solar array. That money is still on its way. But I did install sprack, or whatever you call this, white pipe, and also the auxiliary power that I'm using. The load and the grid power is a bit tighter and neater into trunking, and also have a fuse connected for the battery system. It's just a 100 amp fuse there. This battery, I couldn't get 80 amp fuses, but actually you have to limit the power draw, or the power that goes to and from this, to 80 amps. I did that setting on the inverter. So what I do have also is a little box here that has my inverter out to main DB, and also the inverter auxiliary to main DB. So when I switch this off or this off, it isolates the inverter from the DB board, or the power from the inverter to the DB board. So there's just a little sticker that says this is the main AC isolator for the inverter. In this box there's also been a few changes. Let's quickly open this up. Yeah, it's quite a mess in here, but maybe one day I'll manage to fix this. On the left you see the contactor. I used the contactor to make sure that I have a earth neutral bond. At this stage that is disconnected totally. I got a bit of extra information on how to connect that earth. So now the earth neutral bond is a permanent bond. So I've got my earth wires and I've got my neutral bond to earth permanently. So there is no more contactor that does that for me, and when the power goes off or the grid falls away, my installation is still safe, everything is still safe. So yeah, everything in here, it looks quite intense, but it's connected correctly and everything is connected in the right way and very safe. And also all the labeling is done. Anybody that comes to this box will know exactly what is what and what wire goes where. Let's get that closed up. Still I've got my little PV box here with the fuses. I think I can quickly open up the inverter just to maybe show you what's going on inside. It's not that interesting, but let me open it up. Alright, I've opened up the cover. So firstly, you can see here I disconnected that. These were the cables that switched my contactor. They were connected to the live and neutral port here. This is nice actually. This is if you switch this on, it gives a signal out. You can connect a little LED to that. That'll be a good idea to see when the inverter switched to islanding mode. Then you can actually lit up a little LED with those outputs also. And so there you can also see the battery cables are connected, running down and out into the fuse box. If you have any questions and stuff, you're welcome to ask them. I'll try and answer them as good as I can. But as I say, this is my personal little project. The cable that you're seeing over here coming out of the trunking at the moment is for this multi-plug, and which will also be changed, but that is the fan. The auxiliary port, well, the generator port, I switched that to auxiliary. You will see that the earth wires are not, the ground wires are not connected, only the live and neutral, because of the neutral bond that I did. You have to remove those. The only ground earth wire that I connected was on the grid side. I can quickly show you on the settings maybe. My battery is reading with the CAN cable, goes to the CAN port on the battery. I had to switch on the dip switch number 1 to make it communicate correctly, and it shows that 80 amp in and out, that's the maximum. All this information is coming from the battery itself. On my battery settings, you saw my battery was a bit low, but that's because my battery is not set to charge from grid. My battery only charges from the solar panels, and I get through the night because I use grid, and only the battery only gets used for battery backup, and that happens maybe 2 times a night. Then the auxiliary, let me just show you auxiliary. I switched that to auxiliary load. Oh, and I told it that the auxiliary out will be turned off if the battery goes below 35%, and it may be turned on again after it reaches 50% again. So the normal setting here would be generator, but I changed it to the output. System mode, you see I've got a little schedule. When your system is running for quite a while, you can set that up to your preference. You can come in here and change whatever you want. This is just something that works for me and my specific setup. This is not a fixed thing for everybody. So this just helps the inverter to decide when to charge from grid, when not to charge. Mine is set never to charge from grid, but to use battery and push back into the grid. So the reason I did this is times that there is enough sun, or it's just my way of setting up the schedule, but I like it when the sun is shining, that I may use only the panels and maybe a little bit of battery. So the buffer, if the power goes above what the panels can deliver, then it'll draw a bit of power out of the battery. That's why I put it to 90%. And then at the night times, this 80% is just it can draw out of the inverter to power loads on the grid side, just feed back a bit, and then keep the rest, the 80% will stay there for power outages. And yeah, as you can see, my battery is already at 56% or something like that. I can't remember now, but it's already charging now, so it doesn't, yeah, it's already at 58%. So at the moment I am getting solar power in. Let's just see. There you can see it's a cloudy morning and it's already at 390 watts. So that's already pushing in and charging the batteries, I think. If I look here, yeah, batteries are charging. My solar panels are pushing in some power here and charging the batteries at the moment. So it's still very early in the morning, but it's already charging. Right, then let's go back to settings. There's nothing else actually. My output settings is now 0 export, and I don't want to push back more than 3,900 watts to the grid. This also helps to keep the machine a bit cooler if it doesn't go to 5,000 watts. Yeah, so that's the setup. I'll just close this up now. Hopefully I showed everything now that has been upgraded or installed extra. As I go along and install more batteries and continue with the upgrades and stuff, I will definitely post more videos on this system, but also the other systems that I install. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully this helps you to just set up your inverter and connect everything in a nice way.